Showing initiative and being curious, I think, is an absolute, or two absolutely vital skills for personal assistants. And in our last panel session, we're going to be talking to some amazing assistants today about how you start taking initiative, how you seize opportunity, and having the confidence to make decisions and adopt new ways of working. So what I'd like to do is introduce you to the panel. They're going to introduce themselves and we'll get firing with some questions. Okay.
I'm sure this mic is on.
Is the mic?
It is on, thank you. My name's Roxanne, so I'm an EA at DeepMind. I support 3 research scientists there.
My name is Crystal McBride. I am PA to the CEO and COO. I'm also Global Office Manager. I look after our London office, New York office, and our regional offices as well.
Hi, my name is Karina Wenzel, and I work for the European. It was a long week. Yes, I work for the European Central Bank. I'm senior management assistant to the deputy director in IT.
Thank you. So let's start with you, Crystal. I think one of the main factors that hold assistants back from taking initiative is quite often confidence in themselves, and actually how the role is seen by other people. So, in your experience, how do you start to feel more confident so that you can take initiative, find opportunities and speak up for your ideas?
Nikki, great question. I think I would like to direct a question to the audience and the audience out there. When you applied for the job that you're in now, when you sit down with your PDP, are you confident in your abilities? Just have a think about that. I hope you all thought positively about yourselves. The confidence comes positivity. You are great at what you do. Remember that. Yeah? We are superheroes. Yes, we are. Remember, Devil Wears Prada. We are superheroes. I think time and learning also come into play. You know, nothing happens overnight. And places like this, conferences, webinars, books are a great source of resources to be able to learn how to deal with different scenarios and confidence in building things. For myself, what I have learned is sometimes to sit back, reflect, take time, kind of go, you know, how can I manage X, or can that be done in a different way? And when you do have that aha moment, but you're not quite there in the confidence scale, maybe mention it to your manager in a one-to-one kind of controlled environment. You may not always get the answer you want, but what it does show is initiative.
Thank you. Let's bring you in, Roxanne. I think initiative can start when you have a really good understanding of the business. And I wanted to ask you this question because from what you've told me, the work that the researchers do at DeepMind is very scientific. It's a difficult area of business that you have to work in. So how do you get that? How do you start to build that awareness of the business when you work in a difficult business to understand?
I think for me, when I first started, what I picked up on very quickly is the fact that the company knows that not everybody that works here has come from academia or in tech. So they've cultivated a culture where you can reach out to your peers and you can ask them for a coffee and you can ask them questions and ask them about the research. I'm sure everyone will agree we all like talking about ourselves, so people do tend to give their time, so don't be scared to ask for it. I'd also say really take advantage of the internal resources they're putting out there. So we have like an internal newsletter, which is incredible because our business is so, there's so much depth to it. There's so much research going on. There's so many teams working on various different things. So even just talking to people will never get you the full picture. So tapping into that newsletter and picking out key things and really soaking them up is vital. So I would find out if your company has an internal newsletter. If it doesn't, there's nothing wrong with you suggesting one or maybe leading on a project to put one in place. And thirdly, I would tap into whatever it is that your industry is. So mine would be tech. Tap into, you know, online or other events that are going to give you that information. So if you're not getting it from your colleagues and you're not getting it from the internal resources that your company's putting out there, then go out there into the wide world and see what's available to you, because, you know, we live in a world where everything is online now and everything is so easily searchable. So really tap into all of these different corners of resources that are available to us.
Thank you. And just to answer Crystal's question, are you confident in your abilities? This is in real time. So I love that 88% said yes. And hopefully the 12% that are saying no, you've got something from the last 2 days to make you feel a bit more confident. But if not, we'll get there by the end of this session. So Karina, just to bring you in, just having spent some time with you, and if anybody has over the last couple of days you've been here, you get the sense that you will go above and beyond what you do, above the work that's required of you. And from what you've said to me before about European Central Bank, you found those opportunities. So I just wondered how you position yourself within your role so that you have taken on those different roles outside of the main function of your work. I don't know if you want to give some people a bit more of an explanation about what you've done with the network, for example.
Yes, I mean, the network, so in the European Central Bank, we're about 250 assistants, and we're distributed among 3 buildings. And there came a moment where we had, where we just realized, okay, we need to connect more to be able to see how we can embed the business processes that we all have to do, because it's a public institution, so we all have the same processes and procedures that we have to do. And even though being in different business areas, we have the same system for budget, the same system for training, the IT system, of course, I mean, I'm from the IT department. I get a lot of, let's say, inquiries about why something is not working and why, I mean, and how we can improve that. And we just realized at a certain point that it is us assistants who can actually help improving those systems, because it's us who is using them. So we went about and asked, so how can we do this better? Like, can we get together, and how does this getting together help us embed the systems, improve, give solutions? And yeah, I volunteered when the opportunity arose, and it's been very beneficial. Of course, you always have to think about how this impacts your day-to-day work, because I have a very demanding manager. He knows what I'm doing. I told him, look, this is important to me. I'm passionate about it. I think it's for the good for the company as such. But I realize I have to do my job for him as well. No, so it has benefited him as well, because he does see we're not getting together just for fun. We're actually trying to improve the company as such.
Just to be, it's an amazing example of how you take opportunity and start to innovate. So can we just have a couple more examples of things that you guys have done that have added in, or have been innovative, or have added any innovation where you've worked? Roxanne, if we start with you.
So when I first started, we were quite a small PA team, and I joined with 2 other PAs, so immediately our team became much bigger. The resources that we were giving as PAs, which were brilliant, and we put them to good use, we realised as a team grew and as a company grew, the information was slightly outdated. So I used my experiences within the first few months, which were a complete whirlwind, an incredible whirlwind, and started to work on how we could make this induction process a bit clearer and a bit easier, and put in all this wonderful access to information. So I got together with the 2 PAs that I started with, and we put in a weekly sync, and we just started working on this doc, and we started collecting information of all these incredible things across the organisation that we could tap into as personal assistants, that were going to get us up to speed all that more much quicker. And I found that that's kind of spiraled now into this wonderful presentation, which as PAs we've all kind of taken a section of, so that when new team members do join, we've broken it down to the fact that all of this information we collated over a matter of about 3 months can be given to them in a week or 2, and they have access to that, and they can review that, and they can pull bits and pieces from that, and they can come back to it and refer to it. So it's something I'm quite proud of, but it's something that actually has turned out to be a resource that, as a team, we've all benefited from, and actually as an operations team, we've shared, and they have been able to tap into that information as well. So I think it's starting from the piece of your own experience, and realising what is it that's really going to help you, and actually can this help other people, and if it can, then what's to stop you from creating it? I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like, if it's not out there, or even if it is and it's outdated, and it's going to benefit a lot of people, then jump straight on it. No one's gonna stop you from doing that.
Because what you often find are the things that are annoying you in your role or the business are probably annoying other people as well. Yeah.
Picking up from that, I think, you know, we all have to be, we're curious by nature in our roles, aren't we? We love to know how things work, and we like to do things better. From how to do books to frequently asked questions. So a couple of initiatives that I've kind of taken. Travel management company, you know, sometimes when you're a small startup, putting something in place that can make everybody's lives that much easier, your life that much easier. So that's kind of an initiative that I've kind of taken on board.
Working with a good travel management company.
Gotta have it.
Absolutely. Have we got any questions from the audience? Anything pop up that anybody would like to ask yet? Okay, well, I've got loads more questions, so I'll keep going until somebody's ready to ask any. Corinne, if we can come back to you, quite often when you work for a very self-reliant executive, can we maybe get a show of hands? Who has a really self-reliant executive and it's almost mission impossible to get work out of them? Yeah, I've been there. That can often scupper any chances of an assistant taking initiative. So would you have any advice for an assistant that maybe just wants to get that little bit more work?
Yeah, that's a difficult one, I must say, because I think you have to take into account your manager's wishes. If he says that's the way he works, that's the way he rolls. I mean, it's like there's no point in trying to change him. You're not his mother or his wife, right? I mean, it's just, it's really, as I also said before, that it's something that you have to work out with your manager. If he's not that kind of person who wants you to take that kind of initiative, then you have to accept that. And if you're not happy with that, then it's, I think, I think it's very important that you stay focused, that you don't get upset. It's nothing personal about you. He's not just saying it to annoy you. It's just the way he works. So you have to accept that. And then if that does not make you happy, you have to move on. I think that's the best advice I can give.
Just kind of want to add something there. So something that I've learned as well working with multiple people is that if you find you've got someone that's quite self-sufficient, but you feel like you can add more, there's nothing to stop you from being, you know, really straightforward and sitting them down and just saying, you know, I've noticed that you deal with X, Y, Z. I can definitely help here. If you can show where exactly you can add value, then I feel like most people would be quite delighted with that. So as long as you've come to the table with some suggestions, you know, see where that gets you.
I've also found, I worked with a really self-reliant executive. I also found that actually freed up loads of my time to go and do other things within the business, and I made myself quite well known doing events, for example, that he had no interest in, but was quite happy for me to go and spend that time doing something else. So sometimes it can be a positive. Sometimes it's incredibly annoying, but sometimes it can be positive. We've got a question from the online audience. Don't know which one of you want to take this. What would you do if an initiative you've shared and are passionate about is not taken up by a manager or encouraged to be driven forward? Have we been there?
Yeah, I think we've all been there. As I said earlier, you know, we can all ask. Sometimes we may not get the answer that we would like, but that doesn't show initiative. You know, it doesn't show that you're not aware that there might be an issue or a problem or a better way of doing things. It takes time. People shy away from change. Remember that. You know, what tends to happen sometimes, and I think we've all been there, is we might mention something, and 3 months later, the same thing might come out of the other person's mouth, and you go, aha. We've all had that happen, but it's kind of like going, okay, that's fine, taking a step back and going, but what I could do is I could implement this in this way, this way, this way, change it around. They're not saying no because it's a definite no, they're saying it because it may not fit in right now with strategic goals.
And Crystal, just to come back to you, from when we've spoken before, and I think this is definitely when you're in that office manager role, you tend to take on a variety of work, and it might not necessarily be a case, I think more in the office manager role, definitely where you can push back because there's so much that needs to be done, and particularly, as I say, with an office manager role, it can be really random stuff that you have to do. So do you find that is difficult when you're setting boundaries, or have you found that actually that has led to more opportunities?
Nikki, that's a good question again. I think we have to be careful of our time. Remember, your time is also important. You're not, if I'm saying no, it's not because I'm saying no because I don't want to do it. It's because I may not have the time to fully commit to that project or that person. I think sometimes what you need to do is you need to ask the question, like, does this need to be done now? It makes people think about whether or not it needs to be done, and you're able to prioritize. It's okay to ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's okay to ask.
Yeah, of course. And Roxanne, can we talk about, because as I was saying at the beginning, I think when you're really passionate about an idea and you've seen something where you really, oh God, I could make that so much better, and then there's that lack of confidence. What structures have you put in place so that you have that confidence to go and speak out and share your opinions with people?
I personally, I've had an issue with confidence in the past, and I think the one thing that I lean on now, years down the line, is that, I have the ability to be a good PA. I am a good PA. It's why I have the job that I do. It's why I have the experiences that I do. And I think you really need to tap into that, really lean on the fact that you're here for a reason. And I think once you've got that core foundation of, well, I must be doing something right, I think you need to build on that, learn from those experiences and put yourself in situations where you can start to enhance those skills and step up. But the main thing is just, these things don't just happen by accident. Being a PA is really, really hard. It is. We all know it is. And I think you need to just believe in yourself a little bit and, take the time to work on that confidence and exercise that confidence.
Just had an interesting question on Slido. So have you taken the initiative only to be told that's not your role? 51% have said neither, which is very encouraging. Sometimes 33%, and yes, 15%. That's a really interesting one. Have any of you had that experience before?
Personally, I haven't, but you've got to ask the motivation why someone would be asking you that. I think when you're taking on projects outside of your direct role, people want to know, is it a good use of your time? Is it impacting your day job negatively? And what's the real impact on everybody else of you doing this? So if you can justify that, then of course it's part of your role because you're a part of an organisation. If you're bettering that organisation, then that's justification enough. So I think it's, where's the motivation for that question coming from?
Yeah. I would totally agree. That must. Why be demoralised like that? That's how I would definitely feel. Do we have any questions from the audience? Okay, let's come back to this one for you, Karina. Can you give us, now that you have that in your career where you are doing much more and you are taking on these opportunities, what difference have you found that it's made to how you just view your career and your work in general? I'm assuming it makes you much busier, which a lot of people probably think, oh yeah, I could go and fix that, but I've got a whole ton of work on my desk. So what are the positives when you do just get yourself out there?
Well, I mean, it's really, it made a change in my work life, just in the sense of that I feel more confident in what I'm doing, because it's really, I feel like the subject matter expert that someone can turn to, and I like to be this go-to person. I think we had some comments of that in the audience as well today, and so this has simply helped me to see that it's possible to just step outside your comfort zone a bit and to make that experience, and that it's not that difficult, it's not, I mean, what can go wrong? Nothing that dramatic. It's not the end of the world if the presentation is not that good, or if I start stuttering, or I start sweating, I'm nervous or excited, as we learned today. It's something that goes away slightly, and it's just an exciting way of discovering what you're actually capable of doing, and it gives you more confidence. and I really like that. So of course it can be overwhelming a bit sometimes. I mean, to do the extra work, to go the extra mile, you always have to take this into consideration. How does that play into the day-to-day work? Can you still do it? Are you passionate about it? I mean, it's all things that you have to be aware of and take into account.
So I love the story. I met Karina when we were at the World Administration Summit, and one of the stories that you told, which I thought was really inspiring, was from the back of the network. Do you want to carry on? The HR department came to you guys and said, "You carry on with the job description because this is a."
Oh yes, okay, yes. Well, yeah, we had an initiative. So we're looking at the job descriptions right now, and we had a bit of, let's say, a surprise that we had the feeling it was not really clear what we are supposed to do or what we were doing. We have different bands, so we have management assistants, senior management assistants, principal assistants, and I mean, if you start listing what you do, the different bands don't differ that much. It's more the difference in responsibility that we have, or confidentiality. If you work for the president of the ECB, is certain things you can't go wrong. Nothing can go wrong, actually, you know. And so it was actually a surprise to see that they didn't really know what we were doing. So they came for us for help. They actually came to us and say, "Look, let's sit down together and see what is your actual role." You know, so that was pretty surprising, and it was sort of nice to be recognized as an assistant body to say, okay, they come for us now, they ask us for our opinion and help us shape that role.
How many of you have assistant networks in your organisations? Okay, that's a job for Monday then, for those of you who don't. Crystal, if we can come back to you. So let's imagine a world where you have got that confidence, you're listened to, respected, you can voice your opinion. Where do you then seek those opportunities? I know we've kind of spoke about it, but how do you start to think, okay, this can change, that can change? What opportunities do you think assistants can be looking for?
I think the first thing, you know, as I mentioned before, is take the time to think correctly about those opportunities. It's a great thing is you know, how does it benefit staff, and also, will it save cost? I know it's a random thing, but everybody has a bottom line. You know, have a look at a small project. Like, if something is niggling you, go, can that be done better? Is it niggling everybody else? Start off small. Small tasks are easier to manage than bigger tasks. Put a business case together. Speak to your manager. And importantly, make sure that you add that to your objectives for the year. It's a good way to set things in stone. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you have to manage it, and also your manager, it's documented.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And just something somebody said to me once, I can't remember which one of you guys said it. There's a boundary to how curious sometimes you can be.
Curiosity kills the cat.
Curiosity can start to be a little bit annoying, maybe. So I just wondered, Roxanne, do you think there's a certain limit, or do you think no, just ask all the questions?
I don't know if I'm being quite biased, just because I'm super curious myself, but I think if you go at it the right way and you're not too demanding of people's time, being curious about what another individual is working on and how that fits into the bigger picture of the organisation, I don't think that's too much of an ask. Now, people can always say no. Now, if you don't ask, you don't get. So even before I worked in a larger organisation, I would always kind of make time in my day or my week to, you know, see if someone had a spare 10 minutes for a quick coffee just to explain, you know, something to me. Or, you know, I think asking questions is a great thing, and we should be doing more of it. But sometimes we get held back by confidence and by hierarchy and by who we're speaking to. But, you know, curiosity is great. We should be asking these questions. We should want to know more.
I'd like to add something to that, because I find that sometimes colleagues are actually surprised by our curiosity. Like, oh, you really want to know what I do? Like, and seldomly backfires on you, really. I mean, everyone has a right to say, no, I don't have time now, but they will most probably offer you a time, another time, say, look, I don't have time now, but let's meet tomorrow or next week or something. And I think being curious also means that you're actually interested in what your company does, and you're willing to dig deeper, because I'm not an IT professional. I've not studied IT. I have no idea of IT, so my background is not IT, but I'm curious to see what are we doing? Can somebody explain to me how something works? And I find it makes your work easier if you know what's going on, and I think it's mostly rewarding.
Yeah, and I think as well, like if you're demanding even just a small bit of someone's time, just make sure that you're giving that generosity back. So you're sharing something with them. It's got to be a two-way street. It's not curiosity in a bad sense. I think is when can come across as nosy, when you're just kind of taking. But if you start to build that two-way, channel of communication, that's when you start to build trust. That's when you start to expand your network, and that's super valuable.
To add to that, remember, having curiosity and finding out how the business works, when you're with your executives, you can point out things to them quicker than they're going to find out.
I would absolutely agree. When you're building that rapport with the other people in the business, they tend to be really passionate about what they do. You obviously find the ones that aren't, but people who are passionate about what they do want to talk about it. And actually, it's such a good way of tapping into getting that business acumen growing, and then understanding your boss's day much better. So just, asking questions is just such a good way to start building your business awareness. So I'm going to finish on a final question. And what's the one thing, if we ask each of you, what's the one best practice that you have put in place in your roles that have made you successful and that you could share with the audience today? Roxanne, if we start with you.
For me, it's a bit like emotionally charged, but just gratitude. Show thanks to people. We don't get anywhere in life without the help of others. And for me personally, when people thank me, even for the smallest of tasks, like it makes my day and it keeps me motivated. So pass on that good deed, and make sure to thank the people around you, even just for the smaller things, because it takes a team to get stuff done.
Suppose I actually have two, which is communication. Communication is key. But adaptability, I think we're great at being adaptable, and we have to be adaptable to keep on change. Things move so fast. We went from Palm Pilots to iPhones to AI. You have to be adaptable.
10 minutes,
Literally, it was like,
where's the BlackBerry gone?
I actually saw somebody with a BlackBerry lanyard the other day. I was like, does that still exist? We have to be adaptable to change. You have to adapt to change. Yeah.
I would say for me, it's definitely a positive mindset that's helped me a lot. It builds a little bit on what you also said, like being grateful for what you have, being adaptable for something or to everything, and just try not to take things personally. Things don't happen to you, or they're not done to you because it's you. It's just because it's work. It's just how, so I think it's to realize that and to stay positive is like maybe my main driver also for being where I am, and a can-do attitude. That's what I would say.
That's a brilliant way to finish. Can we give the panel a big round of applause? Thank you. Thank you so much.